do that. There we go. Then we ask you make sure you are on mute throughout the webinar. There is a chat box you can ask questions, and we will open it up to Q&A after the webinar. So if you have any questions, you can always ask them there. If you have any questions about the anything that we're currently talking about, please put that in the chat box there. All right, I'd like to welcome you all to our live instructional webinar designed to support the school annual yearbook program. Today we'll be focusing on the functions related to building activity or candid pages. Specifically, we will be reviewing pages, bleeds, and margins, toolbar, design functions, templates, click and go templates, custom templates, and themes. The webinar will be approximately 40-ish minutes. So let's go ahead and get started. And let's first talk about bleeds and margins. Would like to start off there as, okay, let's give this one advisor here a minute or two to get her sound. Let's make sure she's not on mute. Okay. So let's make sure that that's okay. All right, good. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about bleeds and margins right here. Here we have one of the pages kind of zoomed in a little bit. So we want to talk about this little area right here. First, let's talk about this little area right here where it's green. This green area is our safe area. This is where we can safely put images right here, and they will safely print and be seen. No issues, no problems whatsoever. Next, let's talk about this little orange area right here. Now the blue line is a little exaggerated. When you see your pages, you'll see this little thin blue line and this thin red line. I just exaggerated the lines a little bit just to so you can see them right here. So this orange area right here is what we call like the no man's land. This is where images right here run the risk of the trim line or being too close to the trim line and possibly getting trimmed. And we'll talk about trimming here in a second here. Uh, but this right here is pictures might be safe, might not be safe. Anything outside this red line right here is the bleed element. And then the reason why we have this bleed element and one reason why it's a little important is you want to make sure all your backgrounds, especially your backgrounds, are inside this little gray zone right here. This where the bleed extends. The reason why is if it doesn't extend there, and let's put this right here and go ahead and save it, and we'll go ahead and look at what happens if your background or whatever images you're using don't go all the way to the edge right here. So we're going to go look at this in a print preview and zoom in. So what will happen is this dotted line right here, this is where your trim line is right here. And so if it's not all the way past this trim line like it is right here on the left, you'll end up with this little white line right here where your paper is. So it'll almost look like the print was either cut short or was off or something like that. So you'll see this little white line. Without it, so we'll go ahead and remove it and save and go ahead and preview it. Then you see where the background goes past this trim line. So if we were to trim this, that red would be all the way to the very edge of that trim line. So that's why that is important to make sure the background is past that trim line. Now, one of the reasons why you want to be careful with your pictures with this trim line right here, and this trim line is there's a 1/8 inch plus minus with that trim line. So it may trim a little above it or a little behind it, and that all has to do with how sharp the blade is, how the paper was loaded, um, how just how the everything just came together to cut it. So let's talk about the photos right here. So one reason why you want to be very careful about your photos, if we were to put a photo, say right here, another one right here, another one right here, you can almost see right now how these images will be in a little bit of trouble of being trimmed. And we'll go ahead and save it, and we'll go ahead and preview this page here real quick. And we'll show you like this student right here. Right here, you have the trim line going halfway down their photo or halfway down this student right here. So this student would be trimmed. So only half the student would be seen. A little bit of the top of the head right here would be trimmed. And then you would have these two images that would be trimmed right here. So that's something to take into account when you're putting images on and putting other elements on the page like that, or especially moving your images this close to the edge when you're trying to fill the pages up with as many images as possible. So definitely take a look at that and consider that trim line um, when you're doing that, because you can end up trimming an image and maybe an anger a parent because their kid's image was trimmed too much or whatever. So, all right, so let's go ahead and talk about some little designer basics here. We're going to go on to this page. Now, we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the toolbar and some of the other elements that you might use. So let's go ahead and talk about the toolbar right up here. We have File, and under File we have, of course, the Save as Template. We'll talk about here in a little bit, and then the View PDF is right here. So under View PDF, you can actually view this page as a PDF and kind of see your trim lines like we just talked about. So this will kind of help you view your page beforehand and get an idea of kind of what it's going to look like. If you do go ahead and print this page so others can see it, you can hit the print icon. Now, one thing you will notice here on the right and underneath, it looks like it's been chopped off right here. And that is because that the actual print is a little bit larger than an 8.5 by 11 photo. So what we'll have to do is go over here and go to scale and fit to printable area. And then here you will see your other half right here and at the bottom right here. So that's one thing, just to make sure you adjust your printer to print all of it. Um, so definitely check the scale and make sure it says fit to printable areas right here. So next we have edit. So we have undo and redo. We also have the undo and redo buttons right here. So if we move this image right here, we can undo to remove it or redo to bring it back. If we moved it over here, of course, undo, redo right there. Under edit, undo, redo. Here we have, of course, the classic cut, copy, and paste. Right here we have change background, which we'll actually talk about backgrounds because there are actually two different ways to add backgrounds now. One we actually simplified for you. Here we have spell check right here. The spell check is not the most intuitive. It will not recognize that maybe some last names are spelled correctly. It may say that, hey, this last name is spelled incorrectly, which it actually is. It just doesn't understand that some names could be different. One thing that it will not pick up on is it will not pick up on the three different twos or the there, or stuff like that. So you will have to proofread your writing here. Under select right here, here's where you can select different elements. So under edit, you can go to select and maybe select all your images. or you can go under select and say we want to select all the text boxes, or we want to select everything on the page. Under view, here at the bottom are probably the most two important ones right here. Facing page is what we have right now, both pages. Right here is single page. So if I click on this, it just turns it into a single page. To view, if you have multiple staff working uh, on your yearbook, and maybe staff person A is assigned to um, the page on the left here, staff person B is assigned to the right. If both of them are working on the pages together, you'll run into what we call a save conflict error, which means whoever saves first takes ownership of the page. So if I'm working on the page on the left and I save the page first, and you're working on the page on the right, you can't save. Only I can because I took ownership of the page. So one way to combat that would be to save your page as a template and then just come back and drop it later. Or the other way, and the best way, to have both students click on view, both students click on single page. Now I can work on my page and not have to worry about anyone trying to save or doing anything because it's now my page. And then the other person can work on the other page and save it because it's their page now. All right, then we have arrange right here. Here we have lock and unlock. So if you adjust photos or something like that, or you made something and you don't want it to move, or you want to do other things, but maybe you don't want to end up selecting something you shouldn't, what you can do is select a photo, come up to arrange, unlock, and then lock all. It will put a red border around it, and you'll see this little indicator right here that this image has been locked. And you can't move that image. It's just locked right there. For any reason you need to unlock it, just come back to arrange, go to lock, unlock, and unlock all. And now you can move this image. You can also do it here on the toolbar right here. Also under arrange, if we wanted to, oh, if we want to click on arrange, we can also group. So we can group these images right here. Here, let me zoom in so you can see. If you see a dotted line, and might be able to see it better here, but if you see a dotted yellow line right here, that means that this has been grouped. And I will show you this again later on. We start talking about um, click and goes. Then also under group, we have arrange. So we can bring an image to the front, to the back. So if we have this image right here to the back, and I want to bring this image up to the front just a little bit, so I can click on this image, come up to arrange, go to arrange, and then I can say like bring forward. So I can bring that image forward. The best thing to think about all this as you're laying all the images on here and other elements on here, think of it as like layers of a cake. Um, so you have a layer right here, another layer, another layer, another layer, and another layer. So if you want one image to be in front of another or whatever, that's where you'll use the move forward, move backward, or send to back or send to front. So I can click on this, and if I say send to back, it's just going to send all the way to the back of each one of these layers right here. Then next we have transform. So you can flip this image. You can rotate an image. You can also click on right here, this little line that goes up to this box, and you can always rotate your images. right here as well. So you don't have to keep them like this. You can give them just a little bit of a twist right there, and then just kind of put it right there. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the rest of these. Like I said, this is the uh, undo and redo. Your spell check is right here, page preview. If you click on this, so you can view your pages as a preview, and your save icons right there. Let's talk about these elements right here real quick. Under pages, right here is where you can see all your pages. So you don't have to go back to the page ladder and then click on a page to see your pages. You can just navigate through your book right here. So you can always go right here and then come back to this page if you want. Right here under designs, this is where you will find all your templates, and we'll talk about templates here in a second. Images, here's where you can navigate to your activity folder, click on whatever folder you want with all your images, and then drag them onto the page just like that. Art, let's talk about this section here real quick. Art will have several different things that you may need to set up your pages. First thing is your image frame. Here we have different image frames. Think of it as like frames for a photo. So when we put this frame on here, we're just putting a frame and it's now ready for a photo to be dropped into. So we can come over here and drop this image or drop that photo in there. We can come back up to here and then drop a photo in there. You can also click and hold and drag it on there yourself. Then if you ever remove this image, it just leaves behind a photo frame. So it creates its own frame. But this is if you ever want to just design your own. You could bring some of these over here. We have different shapes. Next thing is the shapes right here. Shapes can be used as kind of like a border. So if you have something right here, you can always put a shape right here and use that as kind of like a buffer between these two. One of the things you can do as it's being clicked on right here in the upper, excuse me, when you click on it, there's a toolbar that opens up right here. If I click off of it, toolbar goes away. Click back on it, the toolbar appears. Right here, you have color. So we can click on this right here and we can actually change the color um, to anything we want. Used on page right here will always display whatever color has been used on the page. You can always scroll down here and view whatever coloring or whatever you want and always change the coloring. Right here is stroke style. What this will do is add a line or a dotted line or a slightly larger dotted line around the image. Here you can change the thickness right here. Under format and effects right here, this little magic wand, here you can add like a rounded corner, a little bit of a transparency, so you can always knock down that color just a little bit. Same with tint. Drop shadow and glow. Right here, you can actually add a little bit of a drop shadow to this little design right here. You can change the degree, so basically whatever direction you want the shadow to go. You can always change the how far out it goes. You can also change the coloring. The opacity, just change it from either a clear or to a solid color. And blur, just how solid that image is to how blurry it gets. You can also place this behind an image if you want. So if you had an image, say right here, and you want to put something behind it, like a little frame or something like that, we can always do this, make sure it's a little bit larger, and then come over to arrange. and then send backward. And then we can always move this image right here. So we can kind of put like a little border or something a little fun or something like that behind the image. So you can use these shape blocks basically for anything that you want. There is a line right here that you can use to kind of like section off. Uh, the section right here, you could put a little few images here. You can come over here, put that there, and then move that one right down here. So you can always section things off, and you can always control just how thick or thin the bar is. So it's up to you. Right here is text. So to create a text box, all you have to do is click and hold the one you want and just drag it to uh, the pages right here. And as you can see, the text box is now created. So you can make this text box as big as you want, or you can make it small as you want right here. And we'll get into more about the text boxes here in a second. If you have any fonts that you have activated, those will actually be right up here. So if you want to change this to a custom font or a different font or anything like that, before you type in, we'll click on it and see this uh, little blinking cursor right here. If you just click on this, yes, it has been recorded, so it will go out to everybody once it's done. So if you just click on this right here, you'll see this toolbar right up here. Almost everything on here has its own toolbar with slight changes. So if you click on this right here, first thing you'll see right here is fonts. So we can click on this and just change that to a different font if we want to right here. We can also adjust the size of the font. If you ever adjust it and you see a red X right here, what this means is you have more written than what can be displayed. So this box cannot display this, uh, right? So we have to make this slightly larger in order to display it. But I'll go ahead and back that down just a little bit. There we go. Right here we have the color, so you can change the color of the text. Now be mindful uh, of the coloring of the text versus the background. See, if I have green right here, what this will do is you'll see like it will just blend into the background. So make sure you choose something that will kind of stand out a little bit. The orange, still a little, maybe a little rough to read, but something like the blue against that green, that would be perfect. Just, but that's something to look for is make sure that coloring just kind of offsets each other. And so it's a little more easier to read, a little more easier on the eyes. All right, so right here you can add a stroke, but it will just add a stroke around the box, not the actual lettering. If you want a stroke around the lettering, what you'll have to do is come over here to coloring. By default, text fill is selected. Just to the right of text fill is text stroke. So if we click on that, here is where we can add a little, just an outline. We cannot uh, we'll make the outline thicker. We can just put an outline on there. So um, it's one thing you may consider or you may want to do. Also, here we have a shape stroke, so we can add different color around the box. And then over here we have shape fill, so you can actually fill in the shape if you wish. Right here we have bold, italic, underline, transform. Right here we can do like all uppercase, uh, proper capitalization, all lowercase, so you can change it to whatever you want. Align just allows you to align it differently. You know, you want your text over here or over here, in the middle, down below. So it just wherever you want your text box to line up. Spacing right here, we'll just change the spacing between all the words. Format and effects, here you will just have transparency, so you can change the transparency. Here you can add a little bit of a shadow to the box right here. Let's actually get rid of this text fill, and then let's go ahead and get rid of this stroke line right here, and there we go. The actual text itself can actually get the drop shadow right here, and then glow right here just puts a glow around it. You can change the opacity and the blur. Also, you can change the coloring right here. So you can just do something like that. You recommend students create their own pages and see them. Um, we don't do support for that, so I mean that's up to you if you want to use a third party. Um, they just make sure it's 8.5 by 11 and saved out as a JPEG or PNG and in high res. That's all I can tell you about that program. All right. So let's move along with templates. You know what? Let's skip templates. Let's move to backgrounds, and then we'll come back to templates because there's a few things with templates I want to explain that it helps to have backgrounds on. So let's go ahead and let's talk about backgrounds first. So there's different kinds of backgrounds that you can actually use. You can actually use your own backgrounds if you want. To place your own backgrounds on there, all you have to do is come to edit and then change background. Here you will get this little pop-up right here. You have your left and right page right here. So if we went on the left page or right page. Next we have background color. Here you can actually select a solid color and just a solid color right here. Or you can click, you can actually choose your own image. So if you have your own, I highly suggest that you create a folder under activities and call it background and put all your backgrounds in there. It just helps you find it a lot easier and just better organization. You can click on this, then anything you see right here can be used as a background. If it has a red box around it, it cannot be, it doesn't meet the proper aspect ratio. So if you find a nice piece of clip art and it's large enough to meet the proper aspect ratio, which is basically 8.5 by 11, you can click on it, click on select, and then use it as a background right here. There are other options here under background, so I can rotate it, I can flip it, I can also do rotate it around. The crop icon, I can actually move this to the side right here, or I can move it to the side right here. Under snap edit right here, I can actually change a few things. And I wish I would not have clicked on that. There we go. We'll talk about snap edit here in a little bit because you can actually use that on clip art. So here you can change the tint. Now the reason why we would want to change the tint, let's go ahead and grab this one and let's find a pretty loud color right here. So the reason why we would want to change the tint, like right here on the right page, it's pretty bright and pretty just loud of a color. So with tint, we can actually knock that down a little bit. And so it's not so, so much right there. Go ahead and save the page, and then we print preview. So you can kind of see what the background's going to look like right there. And you can kind of see that it's a lot better, a lot more easier on the eyes. And I think once you start putting things on this page, you'll find that it'll look a lot nicer. And then for any reason you don't want this on there, you can always click on remove background. and remove background right there. Now I'm probably going to show you probably the easiest way to add a background. If you have one of our, let's go by cover here. If you have one of our cover choices, and let's go and let's go ahead and use puzzle right here. So right here, the first, for puzzle right here, you will see that the first 6 choices are backgrounds. Here we can click and hold, drag it over, and drop it, and it's in the background. It is now a background. I can't click it, I can't move it or do anything, or I can click and hold this, and now it's a background. So you don't have to go through, the whole choose background, choose image, click on this and select this. You can actually just go to um, one of our covers, click and hold, drag it over, and now it's a background. You can do that also with some of our themes. I will say this, if you come across a theme that does not drag and drop in, um, please contact me because I have to send that in because that particular background wasn't marked as a background. It was still marked as a piece of clip art instead of an actual background. So that's something I have to send in and get changed. But yeah, so if you see any of these, any one of these could be used. I believe there was one here. Um, but like I said, just click and hold and drag it on there. So tell you the difference between a background and a clip art will just sit right there. It can be moved around, where a background will just be in the background like this. All right. But like I said, if you find a background or something like that doesn't fall in, um, blue waves, blue waves should be, let's eliminate this, should be by cover. Just click the arrow right here by cover, and then blue waves is right here. So nope, there is this one right here. There's actually 6 options for backgrounds right here, and then you got all this right here. And you're not limited. The greatest thing about this program is you're not limited to what you see in this folder. You can use anything right here. The whole entire image library is open for you to use. So please do not ever feel like you have to use whatever's in that folder. Use whatever. Right here is a search bar right here. So you can type in the color blue. Here's anything and everything blue. Feel free to use it. If you want to use that one, you can use that. You can see that. Just anything you see right here, feel free to use it. Hey, here's even blue numbers right here. And if you ever find something like this and you're running, hey, wait, where did that come out of? What folder did it ever come out of? Right click, come out down to manage image, view image, view in image library. It'll open in a different window. And there we go, building blocks. So here it's in the folder building blocks. So all you have to do is scroll up a little bit by themes. So go under by themes, building blocks, and then here's all your different building blocks. Right. So we talked about all of this, and now let's talk about themes. And you'll kind of see the reason why I wanted to talk about backgrounds um, before we talked about clip art and stuff like that. So to find all your clip art, click on Designs, and then click on this little drop-down menu right here. Now we have Page Surfer right here. We'll have your candids, and these are just pre-made templates. You can alter them in any way that you want. So we're going to find, let's do this one right here. So we're going to click and hold, and we're going to drag this over to the page, and you're going to get this little pop-up. It's going to ask, do we want to retain existing content? So if I click on no, first thing you'll notice is the background has disappeared. If you click on no, it will replace everything on that page with the template. It will clear everything out in favor of the brand new template. And if I click and hold and bring over to the other side, which by the way, you don't have to use the A and B. So I don't have to use the left page and right page on this. So if I want to use the left page on this or come down here to this one and use the right page on this one, you can. But if I bring it over and drop it and I click on yes, it will retain the background right here. Also be careful, it will retain any and all clip art that's right there. So if I didn't remove this clip art, it will put the excuse me, it will put this clip art anywhere it can in any one of these image frames. So if I bring it over here, click on yes, see, it will put that clip art right there. So if you want to retain the background, I would remove like anything else on the page and then drop your template and then go back and add whatever you want to add. All right. Now, let's say you want to save this. You like the layout. You want to save this for more. This is for the grade. So this would be like first grade. So you want to save something like this for second grade. To save this right here, we're going to go over to File, Save as Template. So here you have left page, right page, both pages. So you can save both pages as a template, or you can save just the left, just the right, however you want to save it. Just give it a name and then click on Save. To access these, all we have to do is go to Design, then click the arrow under Custom. Uh, Also, a reminder that the arrows are a little finicky sometimes, so make sure your cursor is right on them. Then click on My Templates. And then here you can see all the templates you have saved. You can click and hold, drag them, drop it on the page, and then it's right there. We go to the next page. Oh, here, let's go to this one. Click and hold, drag it, and drop it on the next page. So you can drop this on as many pages as you want. Okay, there we go. Now, one thing we want to talk about next is click and go. So we're going to come down here and, oh, of course, under page server, you also have clubs and organizations. So you have a little more right here that you can bring over. So just more like text boxes are already pre-done for you. Some of these, you could change the background. So you can actually click on this background if you don't like the coloring and change the coloring a little bit. If you wish, and all that. So you can always change everything around and all that. So let's talk about click and go right here. These click and go, what they are just little snippets of stuff that you can put. So you want to put something like this here at the bottom. And you could say, new teachers for this year. So you could put like new teachers right here and a little bio for them. When you put a click and go on the page, one thing you will notice real quick is that there is a dotted line around them. This means they're grouped. So you can actually go to arrange and ungroup, and now you can edit individual items. And then if you want, you can always highlight them and go over to group and then group them back. And if you ever make something and you want to save it, save it as a click and go and use it for other things right there. Um, so what you can do, and we'll use an infograph here. So what you can do is select everything in that infograph. So we're going to select all this because I'm going to save all this uh, for other pages. And I'm going to go over to File, Save as Click and Go, and just give it a name. Click on Save. Then I can always go back to Design, click on here, go to My Click and Go, and then right here, I have all my click and go stuff right here. I can always click and hold and drag them over, and then just drag all this stuff over right here. So you can bring all that stuff over to just different pages. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about some formatting and stuff like that. Different things you can do with the pictures, different stuff you can do with different clip art and stuff like that. So let's go over to art and clip art. And here's where we can get into a little bit of fun stuff we can do. So like this piece of clip art, I can bring this over right here. And right here is, I can come up here to Snap Edit. And I'm going to talk to you about Snap Edit here real quick. So this right here, I can change this to either, let's go to Overlay and Colorize. So in Overlay, I can change the color of this. So let's say I don't want just a regular chest piece right here. I want to change it to a little bit of red, maybe knock this down just a little bit, give it kind of a pewter look to it right here, and I can click on Save. And I've changed it to, well, almost a rose gold right here. You can change that. Now, it will not change the original. The original is still same color. What it does is just add a mask, and it just adds a copy of this one right here to your library. So you can also, we'll come back to it. You also do colorize. So you can change the coloring. Overlay for something like this is a lot better, but colorize still works a little bit, and you can always save the change right there as well. So let's talk about Snap Edit for some of these pictures right here. So here we have just a regular image. You could change the image to black and white. You can change it to sepia. Overlay doesn't really work. Colorize doesn't really work. So those two honestly are really for your clip art. You can do the brightness, contrast, and saturation. So you can maybe play around with these just a little bit of like photoshopping if you want. Um, so if you want to mess around with that, you can. Now let's talk about like a picture like this and how we got this and how we got this right here. So you can do like you can get rid of the background like we did on this picture and put like this picture with a little piece of clip art in the back of it. Or you can just if you have like another image somewhere on the page, and let's see, we're going to send this one to the back or whatever, and then we can do right here is just move this image, kind of like that or something, something like that. So the best way to do that, or the way to do it, is we're going to click on this image right here, go to our Snap Edit. We're going to click on from filters over here to mask. And then we're going to use, defaults onto Smart Eraser. I would just click on Eraser right here. Here we have the brush size and the tolerance. So we can do, a larger brush size or a smaller brush size. We can go even smaller if we want to get into finer details. And then we have transparent right here. So we can actually make this a transparent background. If for any reason that you slip and you're, into one of the students right here, you just go to uneraser and then you just unerase all this. Basically what you're doing is just removing the mask. The image is still there, you're just putting a mask over that image. You can also change it to black and white. So here we can actually just change that to black and white if you want. Now, when you save the image or you click on save to put the image on the page, it does not overwrite the current image. The current image is still there. What it does is just adds a mask and it saves it as an additional image. So if we go to image right here, and we can find I think the original image is down below here. Here it is. So here's the original image right here. Original image right here, untouched, nothing wrong with it. It just, like I said, it just adds additional images to the library. So. Okay, I'm just checking my notes here to make sure I've showed you everything. Okay, photos, shapes, and there we go. All right, so one of the final things we're going to talk about is the history tab. The history tab right here. Now, this history tab has everything that has been done to the page since the start of the book. Here we have anything that was done today. So if I click on save right here, all the saves are right here for today. Yesterday, it will show you yesterday, this week, it will show you last week, and then right here, older versions. This will show you everything that's been done to the page since the beginning, right here, since it was just a regular piece of paper. So if you ever need to go back, all you have to do is click and hold, drag, and then just drop it onto the page, and you can always go back and bring something back from a previous save to the current page. So if you want to go back to when it was just this page, you can. Or you can go back to when it was just this page. One thing for you advisors you will like is if you click on the word history right here, you will get a history page right here. This will tell you anything and everything that has happened on that page. From the time it was saved, the page was added, and every time somebody's worked on this page, it clicked on save, it will log it right here. Their name, username, first name, last name, and it will actually let you see the PDF version of what the page looked like when they saved it. So if you ever want to know, this page didn't look like this yesterday, who altered the page or who did something to the page that we're supposed to, you can always come back to the history right here and see what they did. All right, and at this time, if you have any questions, you can take yourself off of mute and ask any questions that you want about this topic, or if you have anything that you want explained further, you can go ahead and um, ask that now.
I just want to say that thank you for doing this webinar, and I think it's a lot of great information. It would be great if we had another one later on. I think
Yes, we
today
do.
was a busy day. Yeah. So thank you, and looking forward to listening to the recording because I haven't been able to really sit through. Thank you.
No problem. We do have another one coming up in December. Basically, in December I'll go back over working with portraits and this very webinar as well. Then next year, probably about late January, February, we start all over again with getting started, working with portraits, building activity sheets, and the most important one, which I highly recommend everyone sign up for, is the basically the finishing the yearbook. Um, that one is probably the most important one. The final stages is what we call it. So that one I would say definitely sign up for because we talk about how to finish your book out. All right. Any other questions? All right. And then, like I said, we do have our YouTube channel right here, which will have all of our previous videos on it as well. All right. I'm going to read this outro here real quick. I'd like to thank you for joining us this afternoon. The demonstrations of the functions related to creation of the activity pages may help when it comes time to build your yearbook. Using templates already in the program and building your own templates should save time and give the book a little more continuity. Feel free to join us next week or next time when we talk about working with portraits and then building activity pages again so we can give you a nice little refresher.